Webster, the master of the English language, said to redeem is to buy back, to win back, to set free from disaster or harm. And this part shocked me. Webster, who was not saved, says to redeem is to deliver from the consequences of sin. That's in your dictionary, not your Bible. And smart people in university tells you there is no God. They should read the dictionary. This brings us to the dimension, the second dimension of the redeemed. And here is where I want you to stay with me. In order for God to buy us back, he had to pay the price. It is important to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that one act of Adam's disobedience caused sin, disease, and death to come in the world. And all of us were subject to sin. All of us were subject to disease. All of us were subject to death. And in order for those curses to come off of us, somebody had to pay the price to redeem us in full. Now, this is not hard for us to understand. So let me get it to where you live, because you're looking at me like a little strange. This thing about redeem, y'all know when you were broke. Look straight ahead, because you don't want your neighbor to know, but every one of y'all in here, including me, I'm blinking, been broke a time or two. Some of us have been more broke than we have money. And when you really get broke, you look around the house and you take off that gold ring and that gold chain. Some of y'all ain't got no gold, so you look around and you realize that you got a car title. And you were just watching on TV and they said the pawn shop commercial, come on. And so you go to the pawn shop or to payday loan. Oh, I'm coming right down your street. Get your title for your car and you take it in. And you get a loan on the title. Anybody in the room? Or is this the rich crowd? Y'all acting like y'all don't know. Y'all better talk to me. Anybody? Nobody here never went to payday loan? Get a title and... In order to get your car title back, you got to redeem. In order to get your jewelry back, you got to redeem it. So you got to go to the pawn shop and you got to give them what they give you plus something extra called interest. So it is with the world. In order for God to get man back, he had to pay a steep price called the redemptive price to buy us back. God had to encounter Satan and had to pay the price. And our text tells us that when the fullness of the time was come, God came down to redeem us. Now, what was the price? The price of sin, sickness, and death was innocent blood for sin, battered flesh for sickness, and a humiliating death. I think I might say that again. In order to redeem you from sin, somebody had to produce some innocent blood. In order to redeem you from the curse of sickness, somebody had to get battered in their flesh. And in order for you to redeem you from death, somebody had to die. Now, Jesus was the only man in history who was able and willing to pay that price. And so our text tells us that God became man and the giver became the gift, and the substitute became the sacrifice in order to redeem All of us. I want to take you down a journey, and I want you to do an exercise with me. I want you to close your eyes right where you are. Ignore everything else and everyone else that is going on around you. And it's only you in the room. Just you. Just you. And I want you to walk with me down through the lens of history as I take you back in time. We're going to a city called Jerusalem. And there we confront a man that they call Jesus. He's 33 years old, and he's just been arrested, put on trial. Can you see him? He's taken to the high priest so that they can figure out what to charge him with. And while he's there, they spit in his face. Can you see him? They're pulling out his beard just because they felt like it. One by one, they smack him. Can you see it? They call for people to bear witness against him and to accuse him, but they can find no one because he had done nothing wrong. Can you see him? He had spent the last 3 years of his life helping people, yet no one showed up to speak on his behalf. And he is standing in the room alone. No witnesses to say he was good. Can you see him? Where was Bartimaeus? A man whose eyes he had opened that was blind. Where was he to say, don't kill him, he's a good man? Where was Lazarus, who just weeks before he had raised from the dead? He's left alone. Can you see him? Where was the man who had a legion of devils that he had just cast out? Left alone. Where was any of the 5,000 who was there that day when he took 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes and fed them? Can you see him? Have you ever been in trouble and just wish that there was one person to stand up on your behalf? Can you see Jesus standing alone before a high priest? Can you see him? Where were his 12 friends? Where was Peter, James, John, Andrew, and Philip? They had walked with him for 3 years, and now when he needed them the most, they were all gone. He was left alone. Nobody there to testify that he was a good man who didn't deserve to die. Not one person in the world to say, don't kill him. Nobody showed up when he needed him. Oh yes, he was always there when everybody needed help. The blind came looking for him and got sight. The deaf came looking for him and got hearing. The lame came looking for him and walked again. He was always there when they needed him, but now when he needed somebody, there was nobody there. Nobody came, and so they took him to the governor for sentence. Can you see Jesus in handcuffs? Jesus, your Jesus, my Jesus, in handcuffs, being led away. And they take him to the governor, Pontius Pilate. Pilate can't believe the charges that are being hurled against him, because he knew that the only reason he was arrested was for envy. Don't lose it. Just stay right there. There's nobody else in this room but you. Block out everything and everyone else around you, because this is not about everybody today. This is just about you. Because may I suggest to you that if you were the only person in the world, he would have still do exactly what he did. It's not about millions of people in the world. It's about you. And because of you, they bring him to Pontius Pilate. Pilate knew that the only reason he was being charged with anything was because of envy, and so he offered to make a deal. And he brought out Barabbas, the most notable criminal. He was a murderer, he was a thief, he had terrorized the people. Pilate was sure that there was no way they could choose Barabbas over Jesus, and so he says, I'm going to give you a choice. Pick Barabbas or Jesus, who they call Christ. Can you see Jesus? His heart is beating, his head is hurting, he is alone, he's tired. He had spent all night and had no sleep, and he hears the crowd say, give us